humanity. Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Good afternoon. I am Robert Press, an official New York City reporter with my reporter's tag here. And we have a fun show for you today. Let me introduce my co-host, Anthony RIVIECCIO. Please introduce yourself, Anthony.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Robert. My name is Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO. Most people know me as my first life being the founder of a 25-year money management firm, which later on, Robert, you're going to be one of the first to know. You know that I sold a great majority of our firm last year. In the next couple of weeks, you'll know publicly who the buyer is because they'll be making their announcement from business end. My second life is, but if you want to know, because I can legally tell you now, it's going to be TurboTax. Number two, I am also the CEO of a wonderful financial advisory firm on the internet called RIVIECCIO Financial Advisors. My other life, as some might know me in the Bronx, is I am an adjunct professor of personal finance at both Herbert H. Freeman College as well as Monroe College, and the wonderful founder of a Northwest Bronx organization that was able to zigzag through all of this political garbage we'll be talking about today, called Northwest Bronx Democrats.
Yes, we're going to go over who won, who lost, but before we do that, oh, by the way, Anthony, are you going to be starting up another financial group since you sold your original one?
Well, it's complex. Good question. It's complex, but to make a long story short, as I sold some of the assets now to TurboTax, I kept some of the assets and reconverted them. So when I mentioned RIVIECCIO Financial Advisors, you could consider a portion of that to be the old financial advisor.
Because that's what some of the real rich people do. They build up a business, sell it, and then start a same business in a different name. But
well,
all right,
but it's different in a variety of different ways. The Financial Advisors Group was pretty much a full service firm. RIVIECCIO Financial Advisors is a strict internet firm. We have no office you can visit. Of course, we do have 24-hour telephone numbers, email, accessibility, etc. But we are an internet-only firm. We also do not manage money. So unlike my prior 25 years that kept me up from 4 a.m. to 4 a.m. managing money, and I still do on occasion with private clients, I should say that legally. Legally, yes, I still manage money for a small group of private clients. So I'm still up at 4 in the morning. But RIVIECCIO Financial Advisors is a personal finance firm. We help people settle their debt, get mortgages.
All right, Anthony, we got to move on. We can't have a 5-minute commercial here.
All right, 347-575-5045. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay, let's get to our first subject, our normal Bidenomics. What has Joe Biden done to the economy this week?
Well, you know, Robert, that's a good question. And I don't think we can blame Joe Biden at the moment. Even though the week is still young from an economic point of view, I think we could say today, the market is going down 2%, and it's going down even more, and I suspect it will go down even more until the end of business day today. Why? Well, it's called Jackson Hole. And in Jackson Hole, where all of the interest rate money managers from around the world met, Federal Reserve Board Chair Jerome Powell announced this morning, my job is to control inflation. So if that means short-term interest rates go up 50 basis points, 75 basis points, 100 basis points, that's what I'm going to do to kill inflation. And don't get me wrong, in theory, he's right. But in practicality, if you're not getting any congressional response to go with the Federal Reserve Board response, then what you have is what you have right now, which is stock market panic. Because nobody wants to know that interest rates are going up 50, 75, 100. And if you didn't hear the speech, I think he was pretty clear in saying, and I have no way I'm thinking of going down. I am going up, 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 because inflation is going up, up, up. And since we're talking about inflation, now we can talk about Joe Biden a little bit. Joe Biden signed the Inflation Reduction Plan. Oh my God. You know, I don't know where to start with that one, because I never knew in my 31 years as an economist that hiking taxes solved inflation. But it's good to know that both our president and our state representative, Natalia Fernandez, feel the same way, that raising taxes lowers inflation. I think Bidenomics will say, especially on our show at Financial Focus University this evening at 5 p.m., that our markets are in a lot of trouble.
Well, what else has he done this week so far? I understand that students who owe a lot of money are going to be a little happy.
Yes, and I apologize, Robert. You're absolutely right. And you know, it's funny, as we speak, there's a lot of social media banter about it, both pro and con. I guess the best way to describe it to you, Bob, is that I would need the rest of the show to tell you the rules and regulations of this student loan program. It's very complex. Yes, if you qualify, you can get up to $20,000 taken off. Of course, what he doesn't totally highlight is that, you know, you could say it gets taken off, right? But in accounting terms, it doesn't get taken off. What happens in accounting terms is that you will be federally allowed to write it off, right? It doesn't disappear. It's not magic, right? You got to write it off on your income taxes. Congratulations. You get a federal income tax deduction by doing that. But of course, Joe Biden doesn't control our 50 states, right? So if you decide to write it off on your federal side, then you're obligated to write it off on your city and state side. And on your city and state side, unless Kathy Hochul or any other governor from any other state changes the law, as of now, all 50 states say student loans are not tax deductible from the city and state side. So, you know, again, in theory, good idea. I think there's a lot of mini flat tires in the middle of it. And of course, we're still all trying to figure that out as we speak.
Yeah, but what about the few states that have no state income tax? Is that still in effect?
Well, they never counted in the first place.
Okay. And I understand that you could be taking your mask off very soon because it appears Dr. Fauci is leaving us.
Dr. Fauci is leaving us. Do you know why?
Why?
Because he's catching COVID too many times. That's why.
No, I think it's because the Bidens are catching COVID too many times. Joe had it twice, and now his wife has it twice.
Now, don't forget, the good thing about Dr. Fauci, unlike other doctors, is that he is independent, right? He got the Democrats sick, and before them, he got the Republicans sick, right? So he's worked for both sides, and they both got sick. What a science! What a science!
So who do we think is going to replace him? Anybody with more brains or less brains?
You mean for president?
No. As the president's doctor.
As the president's doctor. You know what, Robert? At the rate we're going, I nominate you. Because you say everybody's immune in the first place, so I nominate you.
By the way, Anthony, that is now being said of firefighters, police officers who had COVID early on. They are immune to it.
Oh, stop it, Bob.
I am not kidding you.
Oh, stop it, Bob. Stop it.
It's been over 2 years.
Everybody in the federal government is going to ask you one question that I will ask you right now. And we know what the answer is, so be honest with the audience. Have you taken your booster shot yet?
I got it last year, and I got sick from it, as you remember.
Right. So you took a booster shot a year ago. I presume it's worn off by now. Have you taken another booster shot?
Nope.
Well, there goes your answer, Bob. And then you want to know why I'm wearing a mask. Right? Give me your break.
Told you, Anthony, I'm immune, and people like me.
Yeah, okay. I hear you, Bob. I hear you.
Well, let's go into our favorite subject, politics, and August 23rd, primary day. Let's start in Congress, and I made some predictions, so let's see how I did in the congressional races. We had the 10th race.
Okay, go ahead.
I said it would be Dan Goldman, but it's probably going to be too close to call, and the second place winner, or the second place loser, I should say, Assemblywoman MUTIU has not given up yet. She has not declared that Goldman won because there's a certain number of absentee ballots. So technically, it's still too close to call, even though Goldman has declared winnership. In the 12th race, I said Nadler would probably win, but again, it's too close to call. Well, Nadler fooled me, and he just killed the competition. In the 17th race, I said, no way that Biaggi's going to beat Maloney. He's going to kill her. And what happened? She got killed by Sean Patrick Maloney. Any comments on the congressional races?
Not yet.
Okay. When we go to, I forgot our local congressional race. In the 13th, I said, no way that Adriano Espaillat loses that race. And he won big. In the 16th race, I said, no way Jamal Bowman loses. And he won big. In the 14th race.
Wait. What did you say these things?
You didn't hear it. That's why it was in my column.
I don't know. I heard you, and I heard you say Jamal Bowman was dead on arrival.
No, that was 2 years ago. All right. He was facing 3 opponents who had no experience.
Boy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad I got the coffee this morning for the All right.
In the 14th congressional race, there was a Republican race. So I said, it doesn't matter who wins. They're both going to get killed by Alessandra Ocasio-Cortez, the Democrat incumbent congressional woman. Okay, so now I'm finished with Congress. Any comments?
No, you just picked the easy ones that my mother could have picked. That's all.
Let's go to the state Senate races. We'll do the 31st first, which was Robert Jackson was up against a strong challenger who was backed by the Bronx County organization because part of that district's in the Bronx. It was Adriano Espaillat and a couple other people who said, oh, we're going after Robert Jackson. We don't want him as our state senator anymore. Well, I said that race would be too close to call. And what happened? Robert Jackson won big. I'm going to skip the 33rd right now and go to the 34th.
Before you go into those, let me just comment real quickly on the 31st.
Go ahead.
And I think it will lead more into later on in the show when we talk about the Northwest Bronx Democrat segment. But I want to share something with you and share with the audience why you should stay to the end of the show. Because we're going to talk about politics 302, not 102, right? So when we talk about the 31st Senate District, Bob, did you know that it's chopped down into ADs, right? But did you know that in the 78th AD, that AD represented 24% of the district? And did you also know that the 81st Assembly District, which is also part of that Senate district, represented 39%? And the only reason I'm sharing these numbers with you is because when we get to Politics 302 in a later segment, we're going to dig down into these numbers, right? You would think that the 81st Assembly District with 39% of the vote would just automatically carry their candidate in, right?
I don't think they had 30. Anthony,
right? We're going to talk about that later.
I don't think I think you're talking about a different district. I think you're talking about the 33rd Senate District.
No, I'm talking about the 31st State Senate District at the moment. Okay,
well, I'm going to skip the 33rd and go to the 34th. Natalia Fernandez was up against, it was an open seat. It was Biaggi's seat, technically. Natalia Fernandez decided that she was going to she was going to run against Christian Amato, who had declared for that. And I hate to say this, the Bronx Times reported him as a perennial candidate, Mr. John Perez, whose strength was in Castle Hill and Parkchester. The district was split into 3 parts. It went all the way up from Castle Hill, Parkchester to New Rochelle through Pelham. Christian Amato surprised me. I thought Christian wouldn't do that good. Christian got 24%. John Perez got only about 8%. And Natalia Fernandez won big, like everybody thought she would, with over 60%. But
hey, Bob, what neighborhoods constitute the 87th Assembly District?
it would be Parkchester, Castle Hill, Soundview.
So that's the new 80th Assembly District, because according to numbers I've number crunched, that district, the 87th, represents 49% of the new 80th Assembly District. So we're going to talk about the 87th Assembly District now that it's the new 34th.
How can one assembly district be part of another assembly district?
No. The Senate, right? The Senate
Yes.
race is composed of assembly districts.
Right.
So the new 34th, now 49% of that is now in the 87th.
Well, I think it's a little
Welcome
less.
to Politics 302, Bob. The new 34th State Senate District, 49% of it is in, according to what you just said, according to what you said last week on the show and the week before, is in your boy's neighborhood, John Perez, right? That's his area that you said he was going to, bring all that momentum, right? But we'll talk about that in a few minutes. The bigger point now being the new 34th is not the 80th. The new 34th is now the 87th.
Right. It's only about 20 blocks in the 80th, which is about less than 10%.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Politics 302. Grab a pen.
Well, right there, Assemblywoman Fernandez was backed by the Bronx Democratic Party and everybody else, basically, So there was no way she was going to win with all of that backing, right?
Of course that's not true, because you're going to tell us how it didn't work in the next race, aren't you?
Yes, well, let's go to the 32nd Assembly District.
You mean the 33rd or the 32nd?
Yes, Mike, I know he lost pitifully. He wasn't my candidate. He's a friend. That's all.
No, you endorsed him. What are you talking about? You were on the show last week. I voted for John Perez.
I didn't endorse him, Tony.
You said last week on the show, I vote for John Perez. I don't want anything to do with anybody. That's what you said.
Tony, haven't you made mistakes? You learn from your mistakes.
Oh, so you voted for John Perez and you made a mistake.
No, I didn't make a mistake voting for him. It's just the people who should have come out and voted for him didn't come out. They wanted Natalia Fernandez as their state senator to continue in the Biaggi frame. Okay.
What kind of frame is that?
No work, nothing.
Well, I don't know about that now. She got a pretty large frame. It's got to represent something.
What is that? You mean Natalia Fernandez?
Well, isn't that who you're talking about?
Well, I was talking about Biaggi, what she did. What did she do?
I don't know. You were talking about the state senate race in Natalia Fernandez. All of a sudden now you're talking about
I expect it to be just like Alessandra Biaggi. But let's go into the 33rd state senate race. We had Adriano Espiat, who once endorsed Gustavo Rivera, now endorsing his opponent, Migliana Camilo. We had the Bronx Democratic County machine behind her. Everybody was out there. I was up in Riverdale and found Assemblywoman LaToya Joyner there, as you can see. Yes, that's me. All right. And those are two of the borough president's people. The borough president.
Bob, I really suggest you look at the camera. I mean, at the picture.
Okay. Now, and the Ben Franklin Club with the powerful Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz, who is here. Okay, this is Jeffrey Dinowitz and his son, and it kind of reminds me of the movie Smokey and the Bandit. Gee, Daddy, what are we going to do now? I don't know. All right, so, I mean, I'm just having fun now, but I was at both sites. And I said to you that Riverdale, both candidates think Riverdale is going to make the difference. And I said, I don't see the Bronx Democratic Party bringing out people in Riverdale. I showed a rally where there were 3 people from Riverdale, one person other than the 2, the assemblyman and the son from the Ben Franklin Club, and that was Dan Paternak. Obviously, here today I should say on Tuesday, I didn't see Dan Paternak anywhere.
Bob, this is a very sad day. This is a very sad day. It really is. I mean, it's sad to know that 4 years ago, when the Ben Franklin Club professed and showed membership of 200 to 300, I could only presume that out of the 200, 197 went to heaven.
Well,
because I saw this whole campaign in not just 1, but 2 Riverdale rallies led by Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz and the, quote, Ben Franklin Club, who, by the way, endorsed Miss Camilio, right? Mm-hmm. So you would think they would have a responsibility. You know, as I said to some people this morning, there's a difference between opening your mouth and then putting some oomph in it, right? Well, as we'll talk about later on, of course, we now know. And Bob, you know, again, just to share a little number with you, right? You talk about the 33rd. We talk about the 81st Assembly District being part of the 33rd. Did you know that Riverdale represented 47%?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So again, right, just like before, right? You would think, oh, 47%. I just got to, take care of Riverdale. Oh, I got Jeff Dinowitz. I got Jeff Dinowitz in the Ben Franklin Club, right? So that's a given. That's done. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Politics 302. The 78th Assembly District in that race only represented 19% of the vote. And it was the 78th Assembly District, which we'll talk about later on, that got Gustavo Rivera his win. On top of which, I would be remiss if I didn't say that courtesy of the Grand Poobah, courtesy of Robert Press, courtesy of our show, I think we might have helped a little bit too.
Well, yes, I saw Jason Lately, who has taken over for Dan Johnson as political director of the Bronx Democratic Party. And do we say he's 0 for 1 or 1-1 because of the Fernandez victory, Anthony?
I say he's 1 for 3.
What's the third one?
Oh, my Lord.
The Robert Jackson race?
Thank you.
Okay. So then let's say he's 1 for 3. Now, I don't know if that's a good average in a political game. I mean, that's pretty bad. I mean, you look at somebody.
I would say he's done no better or no worse than his predecessor, Mr. Dan Johnson, who I understand might have gotten fired for the same record.
Well, Dan, at least Dan also won with Natalia Fernandez. So, Jason is following in Dan Johnson's footsteps.
Well, for his sake, I hope he's not, because then he'll be getting on unemployment shortly.
Well, I told Jamal Bailey a year ago, you should hire me as your political director. I can't do anything worse. But when we go into the 33rd, and it's going to be, a problem for Bronx Democratic County. Are they going to come with their, on their hands and knees to say, oh, Gustavo Rivera, you were a great one. You beat us. Because Gustavo has said, I am not going to them. So, that's where we're at.
I have said for the last 20-something years that although Chairman Bailey is trying to shift the focus now from county south to county north, and I can even appreciate some of the reasons why he wants to do that. For the last 20, 25 years, as Jamal has just learned himself, you cannot play county politics up north. It doesn't mean anything. It might mean very little. 20 years from now might be a totally different story. But for the last 20, 30 years prior, it's good to have on paper, but the reality up north, it means nothing.
Ever since George Friedman left. What did it for Gustavo Rivera were the 3 positions that Jeffrey Dinowitz lost in June: the 2 district leaders and the female state committee person, as well as the losing state committee man was at Riverdale getting votes for Gustavo Rivera. Okay, and I saw the lovely Abigail Martin over at the Hebrew Institute of Riverdale. She was there and she was getting votes. I think she's going to be the next councilwoman next year. That's the way she was going. It looked very good. I think Eric is getting worried now.
Well, I'm not going to comment on that last statement, but I will say the winds of Riverdale are changing. What I always like to call the political tree. Now when Riverdale has significantly changed, yes, you still have Jeffrey Dinowitz on top, but now you have a whole new set of district leaders and so on down the line. So I think 2022, 2023 is going to be a very telling time for the politics of Riverdale.
Well, like I said, and she was up against Michael Heller at the Hebrew Institute, and people were greeting her and saying hello to her, and Michael Heller opened his mouth up, and some people were just saying, keep it closed, unfortunately. I hate to say that, but I even was standing next to Jeffrey when he got a call from Michael and said, Abigail is killing me. So, it looks like Abigail Martin could be the next council person in that district. I know Gustavo Rivera will be supporting her because she did very hard work for him. And she has another crew, the other district leaders, state committee people. So it's looking good for Abigail Martin in 2023 for city council in the 11th council district. And from here, Anthony, I'm going to let us go to our mid-break commercial, and we'll come back in a few minutes.
All roads lead to the land of Terenga, the home of hospitality. Join us as we put Senegal in the brightest spotlight in Africa for the historic inaugural Daylight Africa Week, also known as Transatlantic Family Reunification Week and African Open House Week. Daylight Africa Week event is scheduled to be officially launched in the Senegambia region of Africa, specifically in Dakar, in the first week of September 2022 at King Fahd Palace Hotel, Dakar, Senegal. Founded by African Union Day Foundation (AUDF) in New York City, the historical event will be graced by numerous diaspora Africans, American citizens, spiritual leaders, and some New York elected officials who have shown interest in visiting Africa and exploring its grandeur. President Macky Sall, current chairman of the African Union, shall lead the launching of the most transformative initiative for the continent. Join us for the epoch-making event, which features orientation and dinner with Senegalese President, Daylight Africa Week and STEM Up Africa Luncheon Celebration, visitation to Gorée Island and sightseeing, meeting with American Ambassador and dinner with the press in Gambia, African Union Day celebration with the First Lady and Odon Nalia Award, and so much more. African Union Day Foundation, a pan-African non-profit organization committed to promoting Africa and anything Africa. For more inquiries, call +171 8822 5555 or email us at daylightafrica@gmail.com. Be there. In a world where the quality of information available to poorer communities is doctored, tainted, and sometimes regressive, where the words fake news have come to mean other people's opinions, it is vital to rely on news platforms with journalists who have feet on the ground and can report the truth. New York Parrot, a New York-based national and global news outlet, is changing the narratives of media operations. We focus on the news that matters, like self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, finances, health, security, politics, and more. We strive to curb violence, racial and economic discrimination, and to promote peace and socio-economic development of multiculturally diverse world. As we give voice to the people, we also give your business a voice and make it heard. Get your products and services off the ground by advertising on our fast-growing platform. With so much of daily visits to New York Parrot, you can't afford to be invisible to prospective clients on the website they trust the most. Our posts reach millions of people across the New York State and around the world. Advertising on our new site will unlock an audience of thousands of potential customers on your doorstep. New York Parrot is born to prosperously speak tomorrow for the voiceless.
Okay, Birdie, come back. Okay, right there. Welcome back to our show. Now we have two important items to speak of.
Hey, Bob, before
Yes.
you get to those important items, allow me just one moment with the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, did you like those commercials you just saw a moment ago? You should know they were created by our grand poobah up in Studio Land. He does great work. Guess what? If you gave him a call, he's going to charge you a lot of money because that's a lot of hard work. If you want to advertise on our show, feel free to give me a call. I got 10% discounts I'm giving out for a limited period of time. 347-575-5045. And you can join our fast-growing platform and maybe sit down with myself and Snoop Porter, Robert Press. So make sure you get your activities, your events, and anything else that your organization is doing to the New York Parrot so we can advertise it for you. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay, our first very important issue is the Throgs Neck rezoning. This is a 4-block area on Bruckner Boulevard from Crosby Avenue going down 4 blocks. The owner of the food town on Crosby and Bruckner decided, gee, you know, my store is old, I'm not making money, let's do something and have a rezoning here where I could put up a big building and have this new store underneath all the way I want it, and I'll have 338 or 350 or 360. Nobody knows how many exact apartments. We'll have some low income, we'll have some senior, we'll have this. So that way, you know, I go higher and higher because I'll have the community facility for an extra bonus, which is the supermarket, and I'll have the affordable housing, which gives me another extra bonus. Now that's a zoning which is, I believe, 35 feet high that you can go. I don't remember the exact zoning number it is, but Jimmy Vaca rezoned it years ago to be low density. Here they want to put 8-story buildings in. All right, they have some 5, some 4. Borough president has said, well, let's take one of those 8-story buildings and drop it down to 5. But still, the community is opposed to all of this. It will bring in hundreds and hundreds of new people. If you have families and you have 350 apartments, if there are 2 children in each family, that's 4 people times 350. You're bringing in almost 1,500 people. Okay. Now I don't know, and the people who live there know that that area can't take that many people. However, as it has gone, the community board has voted against the proposal. It went to the city planning commission, who yesterday, in 5 minutes, everybody voted yes, and the commissioner, Dan Grodnick, was mysteriously not there, so he didn't vote. All right. From here, it now goes to the city council, and we'll know in 25 to 45 days if the project is going to go through. The last hope is Councilwoman Marjorie Velazquez, who has said she is opposed to the project. Normally, the city council will look and say, okay, council member so-and-so, you don't want the project in your district, we'll agree with you, we won't have it. This is a question, though, of affordable housing. There's big money coming through this. It's not the owner of the food town, it's people who want to ruin Throgs Neck. Anthony, any opinion?
Welcome
Anthony?
to Bedford Park, year 2000. When I first heard this story, as I shared with you off camera, the first person that came to mind was former councilman Andrew Cohen. Because here in Bedford Park, when we were going through a variety of different zoning changes, Andrew Cohen was very timid about wanting to bring any changes that de Blasio had in mind during that time. We had to fight tooth and nail to get the community board to agree as a whole by one vote not to have certain rezoning happening in our neighborhood. I personally delivered it to Andrew Cohen and said, now it's your job to go deliver that to the city council, right? They call it deference, right? Well, long story short, Andrew Cohen had about as much of a backbone as an ant, right? That backbone lasted about 5 minutes, boom, approved. So, Bob, I wish Droznek a whole lot of luck. I really, really do. You know, many parts of the Bronx are going through zoning changes. I'm surprised, but not surprised that it's happening in Throg's Neck. And I think once that goes through, you know, all powers that be have pretty much said, we're going full steam ahead. That's from the mayor of New York City to our local borough president. And yes, Marjorie is still recorded as being against the project, just like Andrew Cohen was recorded as such many years ago. But unless he's got a very big backbone, which I haven't seen already, as a matter of fact, in one of the community meetings that this was discussed, I believe, her backbone said, oh, I'm getting some threats from the community, so I better not go to the meeting, right? So, you know, she's got to develop a much bigger backbone than what she has now. And I don't think she can look for Miss Fernandez for some help, because we've already seen how that goes, right? Oh, let me come save the day, right? What does the neighborhood say? Get the hell out.
Yeah, we're going to go into that right now then. That's the Jacoby Hospital proposal, to have Rikers inmates, which they're calling former Rikers inmates that are still at Rikers, in Jacoby Hospital. So they can be right close to the services they need. They want to, the original proposal was for 100, now it's down to 70. There was supposed to be a low-income housing component with it. So nobody knows what's going to happen. But the Health and Hospitals Corporation, which runs Jacoby Hospital and takes care of the prisoners at Rikers Island, has said, we are going ahead with that project. There was a meeting, a community meeting of people that don't represent the community. We believe in this one person who lives on the north side of Pelham Parkway, who has a small neighborhood group of 2 people. And she says, oh, yes, we want it. So they're going to take the word of one person or 2 people, as opposed to hundreds of others who said no. Okay. The people who live around Jacoby Hospital do not want it. It is a safety factor. Jacoby has not told us anything about it. And that was why I foiled, which was a Freedom of Information letter, Natalia Fernandez, the assemblywoman, because it seems like she knew something beforehand. If Mark Jonai said, I knew about this in November of 2021, and Mark Jonai is her mentor, and she is Mark Jonai's protege, we have to know that Mark Jonai said something to her about it. And Mark himself said, I've left it for my replacement, Marjorie Velazquez, to worry about. Mark did nothing. Okay, so Natalia Fernandez, once the Fortune Society said, oh, we're now the provider, she took the Fortune Society in Jacoby Hospital, had News 12 there to have an interview with the Fortune Society. So what did Natalia Fernandez know about this project? Okay, we won't know. However, there is one thing. Natalia Fernandez didn't answer my FOIL, but Health and Hospitals Corporation is answering my FOIL, and they're going to give me the information of what Natalia Fernandez knew from them. Okay, so I should know that in about 2 weeks, and then I'll come out with the truth on the show of what did Natalia Fernandez know about this project at Jacoby Hospital. All right, because what it seems like, there's an infirmary at Rikers Island, which takes care of all the sick prisoners. Now, what happens is these new borough jails aren't going to have infirmaries. Only, what's going to happen if an inmate gets stabbed? Send them over to Jacoby Hospital. We won't know what he does. And I see the North Bronx Democrat segment, but this is more important than that right now. We can hold it off for a minute, okay? The people around Jacoby Hospital do not want this experiment, and it's going to be an experiment.
Bob, you're absolutely right. It is an experiment. And what it is, and I called it from day one, is Rikers Light.
Are you curious about financial literacy? Then take a look at Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO's new program on Parrot TV. It's called Financial Focus University. This is an excellent program to learn about questions related to your own finances post-COVID, if how you can manage your money, how you can work with your tax situation. And this is an excellent and informative discussion of financial literacy. With Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO, your financial problems will be solved at Parrot TV with Financial Focus University.
Obviously, our producer is in favor of this project since he cut me off. But let's go to the Northwest Bronx Democrats humble pie winners, and we continue my discussion next week.
Thank you, Robert. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the races that we talked about a little bit earlier, but this time we're going to get more into detail. So Northwest Bronx Democrats wants to share, as we do every week around this time, our opinion on how the races went. So we're going to go to the next slide, and we're going to first talk about the 33rd State Senate District. Now, what you see in front of you, ladies and gentlemen, is a chart of the 33rd that has all of those ADs. I want to bring to your attention, ladies and gentlemen, two particular ADs that represent the 33rd State Senate District. Let's first keep in mind that the total amount of votes were 10,894. The 78th Assembly District represented 19% of the district, or 2,060 votes. In the 81st Assembly District, it represented 47% of the district, or 5,169. You would think with 47% of the district, that should almost be a shoo-in. But if you look closely, you will see that Gustavo Rivera lost in the 81st Assembly District. He lost percentage-wise 51-49 to Ms. Camilio. Very close race with a lot of parts of the district involved. So when we go back to the 78th Assembly District and we see that it's only 19%, well, in that 19%, Gustavo won. Gustavo won with 62-38. So it's one of those scenarios where Riverdale could not hold its own. So ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we always give out our humble pie awards. So if we go to our next two slides, you will see, ladies and gentlemen, that the winner of the humble pie award for this particular race, the 33rd State Senate District, goes to our next slide, Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz. And ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of pies that I can hand out in this particular race. But I think the biggest one should go to Assemblyman Dinowitz. Why? Well, that's very simple. He represents the 81st Assembly District. He's been in charge of the 81st Assembly District for 2 decades. Yes, there was a time that Ben Franklin was very strong. Now it's a time where Ben Franklin did not show up. And I think Jeffrey is going to have to answer to that, not just in his local area of Riverdale, but also to the higher echelons of Bronx County. Congratulations, Jeffrey. Enjoy your humble pie.
Well, wait a minute. Anthony, aren't you forgetting who the campaign manager was?
I'm going to get there.
Okay.
So on the 34th State Senate District, as we looked at our Board of Elections chart, and again, we're looking at it from an AD point of view, let me bring to your attention the 87th Assembly District, as I did earlier. out of 6,333 people that voted, 3,110 or 49% of the district is now in the 87th. That's a very important thing to notice in our new Senate district. And in that district, Natalia won 66%. Christian Amato got 26%. And your friend John Perez got 8%, mirroring what he got throughout the rest of the district. So I just want to say that, again, as I said earlier, you will see that the 34th has now significantly changed. And it is no longer part of the 80th. It is now a part of, as you said earlier, the district of John Perez. So let's go to our next slide. So the winner of our Humble Pie Award for the 34th State Senate District is Representative John Perez. John, congratulations. Enjoy your humble pie. We got to get better than 8%.
One thing here, Tony, you're forgetting that the 34th Senate District includes parts of New Rochelle.
True. But at the same token, the biggest significant piece is now the 87th.
Correct.
Okay. So when we look at the next race, the 31st State Senate District, again, looking at it from an AD point of view, we'll see that the total amount of people that voted in that race, ladies and gentlemen, were 3,769 people. In the 78th Assembly District, which represents 24% of that district, 888 people voted. And in that 888 people that voted, Robert Jackson got 47%. Angel Vasquez got 35%. But again, that only represents 24% of the vote. But if we look at the biggest piece of the district, well, it brings us down to the 81st, where you'll see 1,479 people voted, 39%. And out of that 39%, Robert Jackson got 54%. The candidate, Angel Vasquez, who had the same support as Miss Camilio in that area, also got 28%. So we can't give another Humble Pie Award to Jeffrey Dinowitz. That might be a little unfair, although he does deserve a second one.
Yeah,
so we decided to give our Humble Pie Award to, the next slide, Congressman Adriano Espi, who believed that anybody under his wing can win, not.
Well, also, Anthony, you're forgetting that this district includes Upper Manhattan, where Congressman Espi is really powerful, or was powerful.
True, but it's not as significant as the 81st.
What's next?
And that's our secondary winner of our Humble Pie Award. You will see our Bronx Democratic Chairman, Mr. Paul Bailey, who of course was in charge of the whole operation and led it to Jason Blakely, being the Bronx Political Director. That is him on the right-hand side. Let's not mistake him for the beautiful former Northwest Bronx Democrat President, Sheila Sanchez. But Jamal, enjoy your humble pie. If you need any help, Bob always says to give him a call. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
But you're forgetting Jason Lately, though, Anthony. Jason was going around with Camilo.
Oh, I just mentioned it.
Okay, and as I said, Camilo, unfortunately, was going to events, taking photo ops, and then leaving, whereas State Senator Gustavo Rivera didn't get into most of these photo ops because they didn't want him or he wasn't there. But when he went to events, he stayed and talked to the people. As a matter of fact, one of the last events, Family Day at Tracy Towers, the mayor was supposed to be there, but the mayor wound up going to Adriano Espiat's event in Manhattan. So the Bronx Democratic Party, all went there to that event and left Gustavo alone by himself. So when it came time to talk, Gene Hill introduced the elect. While some of them were here, they left already, but we have State Senator Gustavo Rivera. And State Senator...
How helpful was all of that apparatus to Adriano Espillal?
Anthony, you got to take the mask
Here
off.
comes Mayor Adams coming to a community event.
We can't hear you clearly, Anthony. All right, well, that was Anthony's opinion. As he was saying, Jamal Bailey could be in a pickle right now. You were supposed to have your winner, Migliana Camilo. That should have been the next state senator in the 33rd Senate District. And, well, you know what today is? Today is Jamal Bailey's birthday. Jamal Bailey is 40 years old today. He came into politics working under Carl Hasty in his office. That's where I met him. Jamal has had an easy road, basically, because he's been nurtured by Carl Hasty. When there was an open council seat that Andy King was kicked out of the council for some reason, which never was known. No charges were brought against Andy King. Another Carl Hasty underling came in, and Kevin Riley became the councilman there. So it's a trio of Carl Hasty, and Kevin Riley, and Jamal Bailey. So they have held Co-op City, Wakefield, the Northeast Bronx together. However, Jamal Bowman became the congressman 2 years ago, and now they're really going to have a problem because Co-op City is now being represented by Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. And in this last race, it was basically the county organization which backed Migliana Camilo and Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez who backed Gustavo Rivera. In June, and Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez is with the DSA, Democratic Socialist of America. In June, they did not fare too well. This time around in August, they did much better because they were endorsing a lot of people who won. I see Anthony's back. You want to continue where you were, Anthony?
Where was I? I got caught in Space World.
I just wished Jamal Bailey a happy birthday. Talked about his stronghold up in Co-op City. But now Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez is the congresswoman for Co-op City. So, and I spoke a little bit about the DSA versus the county organization and who won. That it was the Gustavo Rivera Migliana Camilo race that the AOC-backed team won. So you want to pick it up? Any comments on that?
Jamal Bailey, happy birthday, young man. I understand you're 40 years old. Wait till you get to be 62. But if you don't get any better, that means you got 22 years of Humble Pie Awards coming. So please, understand Politics 302. Have a happy birthday. And don't do like Vince McMahon, okay? Make sure you go to a private club with no women. All right? Very good.
Well, there is an upcoming event later today at the Williamsbridge Oval. There is a back-to-school event where children will be getting backpacks and school supplies from the local elected officials at Williamsbridge Oval.
But Bob, you know what? Let me slightly correct you. Slightly. Okay? I don't think it was that type of fight. Okay? I know that's what's highlighted, right? Oh, AOC's in the race. Oh, it's DSA. She did nothing. She did nothing. Okay? She did nothing. Oh, here goes my name. Right? As long as I ain't got to give you no money, as long as I ain't got to give you no troops, as long as I ain't got to give you no apparatus, yeah, use my name. Now all of a sudden it's a DSA fight. She did nothing. Now, many people did something. Let's look at the analysis that I shared with you a few minutes ago. What district was instrumental in 2 of those 3 races? The 78th Assembly District. Who was in charge of those apparatuses in the 78th Assembly District?
Are you telling me
Assemblyman Jose Rivera? I'm not giving him total credit, but I'm just saying you can't ignore that fact and all of a sudden, oh, AOC. Give me
No,
a
no,
break
no,
with
no.
AOC.
What you're saying then.
I would put Jose Rivera up against AOC any day of the week.
So Anthony.
Any day of the week.
Anthony.
And he proved it to you.
What you're saying, Anthony, then.
Jose was out in the street for Robert Jackson. Anthony,
what you're saying then is, as Jose Rivera got back at Adriano Espaillat for backing
as per his plan. It was no secret, as per his plan. Right. So instead of giving AOC credit, who didn't show up, instead of giving DSC credit, that only brought 3 people to the table, how about giving Jose Rivera in the 78th Assembly District that was instrumental in 2 of those 3 races some credit?
Well, you just did, Anthony, so thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
But we also have to remember it was the Working Families Party, which used to be part of the Democratic Party. It was started by the unions, and they were working alongside the Democratic Party. But like I said, Anthony, there's going to be war coming up next year and the following years in the Democratic Party here in the Bronx, because you're going to have a strong Bronx Democratic Party organization. And I'll tell you the truth, Anthony, the Bronx needs a good organized Bronx Democratic Party machine. Without it, there will be chaos in the Bronx. All right, you will have chaos. People won't know who to back who to trust. But we've had that a long time already in the Bronx, haven't we, Anthony?
Yes, sir.
And what's it been called, Anthony?
All sorts of things.
Well, when you take out your knife, you what?
Say that again?
When the political leaders take out their knives, and what do they do to certain candidates?
I don't know where you're going.
Stabbing them in the back.
Is that what you're suggesting?
That's what it was in the past.
No, okay.
So did they do that to Gustavo Rivera this time, or try to do it?
No.
I
don't think they try to stab him in the back. I think they try to stab him right in front of his face. Okay,
well, let's just say we'll call it a day for now. We're going to end the show now. Thank you for watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know you're using the air conditioner like Robert Press. You're making sure the air conditioner is on every day, 12 hours a day. Stay cool. But remember, you got to pay your utility bill. So how do you get lower costs on electricity? Come see Financial Focus University this Friday, 5 p.m. Have a good weekend, Bob.
Are you curious about financial literacy? Then take a look at Professor Anthony Rivièccio's new program on Parrot TV. It's called Financial Focus University. This is an excellent program to learn about questions related to your own finances post-COVID, how you can manage your money, how you can work with your tax situation. And this is an excellent and informative discussion of financial literacy. With Professor Anthony Rivièccio, your financial problem